Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Flier Z. I am here with Mr. Pfister once again, and we have some some footage to show you.
Flier Z has a review session.
Indeed.
Off camera, well, we took some breaks from recording due to things going on what the hell on my end and also on Gordon's end. And what I ended up doing is, after our successful rescue of our intrepid crew stranded on the moon, I attempted and reattempted, basically for proof of concept purposes, our landed claw rescue mission.
That's right.
I recorded some footage on my own system offline and shared it with Gordon, and he's going to be mashing it up. And one of the more interesting highlights, there were 3 mission profiles that are theoretically possible with the way we had it. Mm-hmm. One was to land the donor rescue and then plop the stricken craft onto the claw. The second was to launch both simultaneously and capture it mid-trajectory. And the third is what we ended up going with on camera, was with Kerbal attachment system. The first 2 are possible. Other YouTubers have demonstrated it. I did it, but it took several attempts and several mods, not the least of which being MechJeb's autopiloting functions.
Yeah.
So right now we're going to start looking at this, and we can see that I'm using the MechJeb translatron. That's something that we can look into on a future episode, future lesson of Flier Z. Kill HS, kill horizontal speed. It interacts with SAS so that when I introduce, as I'm doing here, lateral velocity, it will automatically move to compensate and cancel it out to the extent that the design is capable. I suppose you can design a craft where that's just not possible, even for MechJeb.
Yeah, I can imagine. Don't put it
Yep. I executed it on a vertical speed of 0.5 meters per second. And now it's at a hover of a vertical speed of 0. I haven't executed it, so it's still executing a vertical hover, killing horizontal speed. What I'm doing is I'm basically looking mostly at the Nav Ball, and I see my retro to target indicator, and all I'm doing, knowing that MechJeb will cancel out and intentionally fight my horizontal inputs, I'm introducing what I want incrementally. I just now hit the execute button. I had pre-entered negative 0.25, which means it's descending me at 1/4 of a meter per second. And now I am using both my Nav Ball, and I'm also eyeballing with the camera alignment. I wanted the altitude that I had and this vertical speed, descent of 1/4 meter per second, not only to increase my reaction time, but also to prevent singeing the recipient claw with my engine exhaust.
And there it is.
And I wasn't recording my own voice audio here, so my only way to communicate with you, the wonderful viewers, was by typing this on the screen, my quick save title.
So there you go. It can be done, but as you've said, it's pretty difficult.
There's that, and Flier Z, it's not the traditional KSP, career series where we're going out to advance a plot. We're going over what can be done, and we're learning, and we're mixing and matching in a sort of classroom environment.
Exactly.
These are some notes to myself. We'll talk about the Notepad mod in a different episode. Please enjoy the rest of what we have to share with you fine folks.
Yeah, back to the moon, and we're going to have a look at our guys and get ready to put them into orbit.
Indeed.
So, for the timing of getting into orbit, do we not tip over fairly quickly?
Yes. Name some of the things that we're going to be concerned about in determining our turn profile.
Our apoapsis and our our apoapsis will be a primary one. The amount of delta V we've got left, and anything large and vertical mountain-like in the distance would, not to mention not hitting the other ship that we've got parked here. That would probably be a bad thing.
Very good.
We also need to make sure we get into orbit going in the direction that is appropriate for a inexpensive return to Kerbin, if such a thing exists.
That's also very true. I asked an imprecise question.
Mm-hmm.
The answer that I was hoping for was the second half of what you told me. We're going to clear the X2. We're going to clear the nearest mountain in the direction of our orbital burn. And then after that, all we're going to do is we're going to cut our burn once we've achieved an apoapse at dead horizontal of, I'm guessing, 15 to 18 kilometer altitude. The other stuff, our delta V and our apoapse, those are important, but those are important more for timing the launch burn, not so much for timing our turn program. And so, because I was unclear with my question, there was nothing inherently wrong with your answer. I was hoping for a different answer, and that means I should have asked a different question.
It's all good. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Which direction do we need to go? Is it 270 or 90 to get the the efficient orbit? And second part, is how do you tell which direction to actually hit in Kerbal Space Program when you're doing the launch to make sure you tip the right way? It's a problem I've run into in the past where, because the free camera doesn't give you a point of reference for which way is left and which way is right after you've done some twisting and turning during landing.
Right.
So the direction you need to rotate the ship might not actually be the direction you would normally rotate the ship to achieve the same results. Does that make sense?
Your confusion makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can answer the second question first, because that's simple.
Okay.
Ultimately, it turns into a mild tragedy of the YouTubes, where the viewer can watch the launch, you cannot. Don't watch your launch. Watch your Nav Ball. Your Nav Ball will tell you.
Yep. Okay.
So, to end up on an orbital heading of 315, where are we going to go?
315? That's right here on the Nav Ball.
Okay. Now let's rotate our camera around some random angle greater than 90 degrees. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, from this perspective, how would we end up on an orbital burn of 315?
It would still be the same direction on the Nav Ball, wouldn't it?
Our view changed. Why didn't our burn direction change?
Because we're in free camera, and what matters is the orientation of the ship, not the orientation of the camera.
You're on the right track with that answer. The correct answer is that we're orbiting with respect to our Nav Ball. We're not orbiting with respect to our camera. You would have been equally correct when you said we're in a free roaming camera. You would have been equally correct to say, well, we should be in chase camera, we should be in this camera, we should be in that cam. Yeah. Because I understood that you were in the right ballpark of the exactly. We are flying with the Nav Ball. So let's leave it.
That one's a recipe. This is a recipe for vertigo. There we go.
Time to buy stock in Dramamine is what that is.
Yep.
Let's make sure we're in camera auto mode.
Yeah, so back to auto, yep.
Now, What exactly were you trying to ask me with your first question? Because it's not clear to me what you were asking me.
I'm trying to figure out what keys I should be pushing to tip it in the right bloody direction from where we are right now. So when I launch, do I because when I launch on Kerbin, I always know that if I want to go 90 degrees to a 90-degree burn, which is our usual, so burning towards the 90-degree marker, I always use the D key, right? Now, are we in the position where that will still be the case in spite of all the rotation and stuff that's happened as we landed?
I can tell you that almost exactly yes, because of the Nav Ball. If we wanted to launch on a heading of 90, we would use the D key to go to the right. Just like a few seconds ago, if we were to hypothetically launch on an orbit of 315, we would go down and to the left on the Nav Ball. But the first question that you were... Well, first of all, did I answer that question for you?
Yeah, I think
I thought you asked the second question.
Yeah, it was basically part 2 was sort of what am I actually... It was the controls related question. It's, okay, how exactly do I determine... I guess it's basically, does the way we landed change the way the nav ball should be interpreted?
No.
Okay. That should help.
And as a matter of fact, you'll find that it's usually not stupid when you land to give yourself a quick blast of your engines just to hover yourself 1 or 2 meters off the ground and use Q and E to situate your nav ball the way you're going to want it for launch.
Okay. And as we said,
yeah,
we're going to the 90-degree mark just like we would on Kerbin?
Well, you asked 2 questions, and I answered the second question first. Your first question was, how do we determine what to set ourselves up for in looking for an orbit? And then the second question is, once we've made the determination of what we want, how do we make what we want happen? Is that a fair summary?
That is a fair summary.
Let's look at the map. Okay. For many, many, many things in Kerbal Space Program, just an eastward 90-degree angle will get you to where you need to get. And frankly, those few situations where your orbital direction is important, those directions will be assumed on any delta V calculation chart, like what we showed a few episodes ago. Launching on a heading of 90 on any body that I've launched from in Kerbal Space Program allows you to launch using the rotational momentum of the surface. Because our orbital speed... Let's mouse over the orbiting...
There it is.
Yeah. See, its orbital velocity is 550 meters per second? Okay. Our current orbital speed, let's hover over the X. Okay, on the nav ball, let's go to orbit. We're currently orbiting at 9.2 meters per second, stationary on the surface, because that's the rotational speed of the moon. We happen to be near the equator. If we were at one of the poles, our orbital speed would be 0, because we would be just pirouetting in place.
Okay, I see it now.
So, it would be much more important if we needed to meet up in orbit with a command module that were not in a prograde equatorial orbit.
All right.
If we were to launch on a retrograde orbit, and there's no real reason not to, the only difference is, in order to achieve that orbital altitude at 550 meters per second orbital speed, we would need to overcome 18 meters per second penalty, because we would have to negate the prograde speed that we have from the surface and then replace it on the other side.
Cool. Okay.
On Kerbin, the orbital speed on the surface is much higher than 9.2, so the retrograde launch cost is proportionally higher. Let's zoom out a little bit.
How much? How far? Oh,
Let's give a
interesting.
normal projection. What's interesting?
Oh, there was briefly an apoapsis marker that appeared. Probably because, see that? Probably because
Well,
we're
if
in
we
orbital
bury
view.
the camera... Yeah, well, not just that. If we bury the camera inside the moon, we'll actually see an orbital trajectory.
Yeah, can't do that in this view, but... Gotcha. Okay, well that's... Back to surface. Stop that. So there's our normal view. Zoom out further.
What are we looking at as far as the orbiting lander? What is it doing?
The orbiting lander? You mean these guys right here? Or the one up here?
That's the orbiting lander, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Those guys down there are on the surface. They're not orbiting.
Yeah. Except at the rotation speed of the planet. Technically, we're all orbiting somewhere.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's orbiting prograde, and very low. It's not. It's a little eccentric, not terribly, but a little.
Right. Okay. And other incidental trivia: we're about to come into sunrise on the surface.
Oh yeah, we are too. Look at that.
As a matter of fact, let's look at the resource.
Oh.
Hello. Yeah, we're starting to pick up charge from the solar panel.
Oh yeah, so we are. We hadn't used up a lot of it.
Yeah, let's use this episode as an opportunity to present an A and a B, and that'll make more sense in a second. Let's get out of map view.
Okay.
You're going to satisfy yourself when we go. When we go, I want you to hit the Z key. I want you to pay it to start banking in the 90-degree heading. I want you to make sure that we do not hit. Okay. Well,
sorry, I bumped the key.
Immediately horizontal. Immediately horizontal. Retract your gear.
Does it make any difference having the gear out when you're doing a launch on a vacuum planet?
No. Kill throttle. Let's look at the orbit on the engineer. Nope. No. Kerbal engineer. Orbit. There we go. Let's get that apo up to about between at least 12 to 20.
Okay.
Go for like 13, 14 if possible.
No problem. 11,
Kill.
12, 13.
Kill.
14 exactly. Okay.
Let's plot our circ burn.
Whoop. Okay, let's see where we at. Perry.
13.
13 and 14.
14. I like it.
That's pretty... not bad for a random... And so it's only a 3-second burn to pull this off, too.
Well, because our orbital speed will be somewhere in the mid-500s, we're already at 4 some odd. We're going to get a little slower as we go up towards apoapse, but not slower by a lot. And all we have to do is insert the difference.
Right, okay. Which, at the time when we get there, will be 72.6 meters per second. Cool. Alright, so we'll just... I really want to time warp just a bit here. And I think I can do that safely. After doing a quick save. I'll just do a 5-10-ish. Fortunately, it won't let you go too fast when you are in this circumstance.
Well, there's that. We also have the alarm clock. The alarm clock, I think, is named backwards. It's actually a warp clock.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, here we go.
All right.
30.
We're just looking at the Perry. There you go. I like it. Kill that
Okay.
node.
Done and done.
And we have plenty of Delta V. Good.
Yeah, so we have 412 left. I'm just going to note that down because I think it's going to be something we're going to want to know a little later. So we want to grab the other ship.
Yep.
And we want to launch it retro, don't we? Have I deduced your plan?
Sure, why the hell not?
Well, it would be a good demo of just how much of a difference it makes, because we'll know how much delta V it'll have left after the fact, right?
Well, it's only going to be a difference of about 20, because the moon is
Okay.
not the best body to demonstrate that on. Don't launch
Okay.
retrograde. Instead, I want you to
Okay.
launch on a polar orbit.
Polar orbit, okay. And, alright, we're in... Let's just reset.
Same approximate altitude, though.
Okay. Alright, so that'll be... Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You got it. You got it. Horizontal.
Yeah, I know. It didn't actually go exactly where I expected it to that time, even though I only hit W to start there. Alright, 7.3.
In retrospect, it might have been helpful to go to find controls with caps lock, but oh well.
That's okay. 11, 12, 13.
Cool.
Killed. Just a little higher.
Landing gear.
Yep. Gear up and...
Circ burn.
Okay, and just let's see what we got here. 24, way more than we need. We need just a little bit more. 9, 12, 13. 13,
Nice.
15. So, will Kerbal alarm clock stop even if there isn't a stop the warp, even if there isn't an alarm set? Just a funny question
Not
here.
unless you... No.
Yeah,
Kerbal
you
alarm
have to set
clock
it.
works through alarms. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured. I noticed the burn is 4 seconds instead of 3 this time.
Well, keep in mind, you also wobbled on your turn program.
Yeah, that is true. That did cost me a bit of delta V, didn't it?
You know, not a lot, but...
Enough. Every little bit counts sometimes. There we go. 12.8, 15.7.
Let's Alt F5.
KX is in orbit.
Yes. Now, don't F5.
Okay.
I want you to F9.
Okay.
No, was this Alt F9 or just F9?
That was just F9. You want the one with both of them on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Because we saved that. That was the KX2 launch ready.
Oh, okay, then well, okay. I just wanted to make sure we had it.
Yeah, we do.
I was going to go back in F5 and recreate it, so.
Yeah, no, we got it. We got it. This is the one you want, right?
All right. Yeah, let's straight F9 then.
Okay. So you just want the first one in orbit, the first guy in orbit.
I want to go back to after both of them are in orbit. Different
after
orbits,
both?
but both of them in orbit. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that KX is in orbit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which we're already in. Cancel.
This is before the burn.
Oh. Okay.
We only Alt F9'd after the second one, or Alt F5'd.
Then you're right.
Okay, KX2's in orbit, and we're in.
Now let's straight F5.
Okay. Done and done.
Show me the map.
Let's get rid of that. Okay.
Show me. Okay. Let's go over to the 1.
Okay. Switch to. There we are. in our nice normal equatorial orbit.
Delta V is 412. Let's kill the engineer.
Okay. Kerbal engineer
Map
gone.
you.
Yep. Taking him home.
Yep.
Let's see.
Show me how it's
Departure
done.
time.